welcome to the channel. Today I will discuss about communication barrier, and it is important topic for your NET exam. This is lecture 8. So far I have uploaded total 7 lectures on communication. You can go and check out them. So here we start. The first barrier is organizational barrier, that is barrier at the level of an organization. Okay, so it depends on the size of organization, physical distance between employees who are working in that organization, specialization of jobs and activities, organizational culture. So culture is very important because culture will define how freedom and trust are being impacted. So the culture of an organization, it's very important whether the employee is feeling free to express themselves, or is that culture is very suffocative that they are not able to express their things. So it is important. The other is organizational rules and regulations. So what are the rules and regulations that are being followed in that particular organization? As an employee, are you okay with those rules, or you are not comfortable with the rules, or you are getting irritated with those rules? So it's important. Inadequate facilities and opportunities. So are the facilities enough that it is satisfying your needs? Are you happy with that? And does that organization have an opportunity growth? Does it acknowledges your contribution? Does it give you promotion on regular basis? Does it acknowledge your hard work? So these things are very important for an employee who is working in any organization. The last one is lack of cooperation between senior and subordinate. So what kind of relationship is between the senior and subordinate? It's important. For example, if subordinate is not happy with the senior or their bosses, then that environment is not healthy, right? There will be lots of barriers. They can't have a proper healthy communication. They can't discuss the things. They can't work coherently. So these are the factors that affect the organizational barriers. Next is physical barriers. Okay, physical barriers we count competing stimulus, that is some other conversation going on in the surrounding area, such as area traffic noise in the background and so on. For example, you are talking to someone else, okay, that can be interpersonal communication, and at the background noise is there, okay. So this will hamper your communication process. It will act as a barrier. That can be area traffic noise, or that can be two people shouting, or if there is any quarrel going on in a group of people. So all these will affect the communication process. Next one is environmental stress. Okay, if it is very hot, so you can't concentrate on having a healthy conversation. You will always get irritated with the high temperature or poor ventilation. So it can be anything that relates to environment. Okay, other is subjective stress. So it depends on the individual. For example, if someone doesn't have proper sleep at night, then in that scenario that person the next morning is not in a very happy state of mode, because that person hasn't got sound sleep last night. So it will hamper the communication process. It will act as a barrier. Ill health, if someone is ill, then that person can't participate in any conversation with the same energy when he is healthy. Okay, effect of drugs, if you are on certain high dose of medication, that will also hamper mood variations and so on. Next one is receiver's unfamiliarity with the medium. Okay, so for example, if you are transferring a message via say Zoom to a receiver, but receiver is not very comfortable with the Zoom technology, then it will hamper it, right? So these are counted under physical barriers. Next is psychological barriers. So under this we have frame of reference, that is it is shaped by our cultural environment, childhood experience and hereditary. So how we approach anything, that is important. If I am a participant in any communication process, then in that how I have grown up in my cultural environment, what are my experiences, how am I applying those experiences, what are my frame of reference to look at anything, what are my approaches at anything. So all this matters, all this counts. Another is self-image. So people establish their own point of view and interpret messages in accordance with their self-concept. For example, there is someone and that particular person follows particular ideology. Okay, so under that scenario, whatever message that person receives, that person will try to decode those messages according to his own point of view that is already established. That means that person is not flexible enough to look at things with different angles. That person will always tend to look at the things with his own established point of view and will try to interpret it in according to that. So it is very problematic, because effective communication means whatever sender intends to convey, receiver should receive it in the similar way. But if receiver is rigid with their own established self point of view, then that is problematic. That is not going to be an effective communication at all. Next is responds favorably those messages that reinforce their self-concept and reject those messages that perceived to be threatening to self-image. So if any message reinforce their self-concept, that is already established concept, then the receiver is very happy to have a communication, to move the communication further. But if that point or that message goes against to their established point of view, that is against their self-image thing, then they will be like, I'm not interested in the conversation, I don't want to be part of it. So it's a barrier. Next one is field of experience, not common to both the sender and receiver. So if someone is talking about something, say for example concept A, but receiver is not familiar with that concept A, so in that scenario, whatever concept sender is trying to convey to receiver, receiver is not very comfortable to understand it because of field of experience. So all this comes under psychological barriers. Remember all these things: frame of reference, self-image, then field of experience. Okay, next is cognitive dissonance, that is conflict in thinking. Other is defensiveness and fear, that you always tend to take the defensive mode. You don't want to listen to someone's idea, you don't want to agree with them, you are like, okay, it's wrong, you have your own point of view. So you have a selective perception, and this is known as I know it syndrome. So it relates to self-image. Okay, next one is filtering. What do you do? That as a receiver you will try to manipulate the information. Why? So that it supports your self-image things, your own established point of view. So these comes under psychological barriers. Next we have linguistic and cultural barriers. So under this, first one is semantic barrier. So semantic is related to words. So it's about disagreement about what's being used. This occurs when the parties involved speak different languages. If two persons speak different languages, so there is great possibility that whatever word being used by sender, that word might have different meaning for the receiver, because the receiver is from different culture and sender is from different culture. So they don't have mutual understanding about the meaning of a word. So under that scenario, that barrier is counted as semantic barrier. Next is high context and low context culture. Okay, so under high context culture, it relies heavily on non-verbal, that is lots of words are being not spoken. Examples are aesthetic society. In India we have seen this. Okay, we face this even, that people don't express themselves but expect others to understand their feelings. So it's very problematic, right? Most of the time other person could not understand your point of view, your feeling, if you don't express. So in Asiatic society we have high context culture which relies heavily on non-verbal communication. Low context culture is opposite, that it relies heavily on words to convey. So example is Western society. In Western society things are being expressed openly and clearly, but in Asiatic society it's reverse. Okay, so because of difference of culture, that is the thing. So it comes under high context and low context culture. Next is cross cultural communication. Okay, so it scrutinizes how people from varying cultural backgrounds communicate in similar and different ways among themselves and how they endeavor to communicate across cultures. So overall the thing is that there are two people from different culture and they are having communication. going on between them. They are trying to understand each other's, even if they have any kind of conflict, okay, over the use of words. So it comes in a cross culture, that is two different culture people are communicating with each other, or there may be a group of 5 people. Someone must be from North India, someone from South, someone from Northeast, Western India, or any other region. So all these constitute different culture, and they are coming together and trying to have a communication process that is an effective communication. Next is mechanical barriers. So it basically relates to channel noise, okay. So any disturbance in physical transmission of a message. If a sender is trying to send a message to a receiver, but there is a disturbance on this message to be transferred to the receiver, then that comes under channel noise. I have discussed about noise in detail, so you can go and check them. So example of mechanical barrier is disturbances in radio transmission. You must have faced blurriness on TV screens, right? Spreading of ink on newspaper. You are reading a newspaper and suddenly ink or tea something falls over it, so it will damage that portion, right? You can't read it. Inaudibility in telephone devices. If you are talking to someone else, there can be a network error. So all this comes under mechanical barriers. So it's basically the barrier which act as a barrier for the transmission of message to the receiver. So it has to do everything with the medium that is being used. Guys, this was for today. I hope this video must have been very productive for you. It must have helped you to clear your concept and understand the concept with the help of examples. If you really like this video, then please like it, share it, and subscribe to the channel. You can join us on Telegram and also follow us on Instagram. The links are given in the description box below. Thank you.